Hello viewers, good evening viewers. We are live on Madras Motorsports Racetrack here. We are here for the TVS Eurogrip MMSC Motorcycle Endurance Race 2021. And this is your host Anil Kumar here. I am joined in the commentary box by Chetan, and on the start grid is Amit Arora. A warm welcome to all riders. There's a 3-category endurance race with 48 bikes that you can see on the grid there. Those are the riders there getting ready on the grid. We will give you the format of the endurance race and further details of it shortly. Welcome back viewers. We are at the TVS Eurogrip MMSC Motorcycle Endurance Race 2021. This is a 2 hours endurance. This is a 2 hours endurance race here. The endurance race carries 3 categories here: the stock 165cc, the pro stock 301 to 400cc, and the girls category riding on the TVS Apache RTR 200. In total, we have 48 riders here. That's total of 28 teams in the stock category, followed by 14 teams in the pro stock category 301 to 400cc, and another 6 of them in the girls category. A total of 48 bikes here lined up for the TVS Eurogrip MMSC Motorcycle Endurance Race 2021. This is an annual affair that happens at the MMSC, at the MMR2 racetrack, and it's an overwhelming entries here. The grid is full, as you could see on your screen. It's a full grid. It's a 2-member team, so each motorcycle has 2 riders. Not that they would be riding pillion, so 1 rider at a time. It's a 120 minutes endurance race. Once the race starts, it's a 120 minutes endurance race where riders would take turn in riding the motorcycle. As we go along, I'll be talking about a lot of rules, regulations, the format itself. So right now, the bikes are parked, or the bikes are lined up on the grid based on the qualifying session. The qualifying session was conducted earlier this morning. So there were 2 qualifying sessions, one for rider 1 and a second qualifying for rider 2 who will be riding the same motorcycle. So the combined timing put together, the qualifying grid is created. Endurance race is a format that runs all across the country. We've heard of the 8-hour endurance, the 4-hour endurance, and here we have now running a 2-hour endurance here at MMRT. And this is TVS Eurogrip MMSC Motorcycle Endurance Racing 2021. As mentioned earlier, I have my colleague Chetan here on the commentary box, followed by Palani on the grid, and we will be introduced to the format and the riders shortly by Amit Arora, who's the secretary of the meet. On your screen is the race grid. That's all set up. They're all set up for the warm-up lap. So this is not a race start like what we see on a regular sprint race. This is an endurance race which will run for 120 minutes. So they are lining up as per their qualifying session to take their sighting lap or the warm-up lap. They finish the sighting lap and they're here, and they will be starting their warm-up lap, as you can see here. After they finish their warm-up lap, they would be coming and standing in a totally different manner. They would not be standing on this grid position, but they would be standing opposite to the circles that you can see on your screen to the left side of the track. As we come through, we will be explaining you in detail how it goes on. This is just a warm-up lap that's starting. The riders will now finish the warm-up lap and come and stand here in an endurance format start formation. So the bikes here are of all categories, starting with Pro Stock 301 to 400 cc, followed by the Stock 155cc and the girls RTR, TVS RTR 200 Apache bikes. So welcoming Chetan out here, my colleague on the commentary box. Welcome Chetan.
A very good afternoon, Anil. It's so exciting to be here on a bike racing event, and I must say a bike racing event is always a one of a kind. MMS.
Right, Chetan. For the viewers, a quick introduction on Chetan. Chetan is in-out four-wheeler car racing enthusiast, so he's here to watch some action on the two wheels. So we would see Chetan, some of his videos also flying out on two wheels with two of his wheels flying around. So what we call wheelie in a two-wheeler, he does it on his cars too. So he is excited about the two-wheel racing.
Racing on four-wheelers for such a long time. It's totally a different ball game, I must say. Well, I've never prayed for the day. I've never looked out for the day where I'll be racing on two wheels. So I must say, two-wheelers have always gained my attention, and I must say it's a close racing out here. And right now we could see the formation lap, rather the warm-up lap happening before they line up to that.
Sound check. Sound check 1 2 3 4 5. Sound check 1 2 3.
Stock, Pro Stock, and we put together. And it's an overwhelming 28 entries for the stock category.
So quite.
Okay.
The season starts here at the MMRT. Summer is here for sure. 41 degrees temperature outside. Track temperature probably about 56, 57. It's the day for the TVS Eurogrip, the bike tire specialist endurance race. A 2-hour race, minimum riding time 20 minutes, maximum 40 minutes, full grid of 48. It's going to be one of those races as the season opener we're all looking forward to. It's time for the two-wheeler endurance race here at the MMRT of the Madras Motorsports Club.
Okay, cut it.
riders are now here at the start grid. As per the procedure, the riders are supposed to stop their bike right at the back of the grid and push the bikes. Now, as you see, the bikes are being parked in the endurance grid formation. So they are parked perpendicular to the or diagonally to the actual starting grid. You can see the riders pushing there. They're all pushing the bikes to the grid, and they'll be parked diagonally to the existing start grid and opposite to the circle that is shown. Could you see that, Chetan? Right opposite, we have those circles there.
I see a number of circles out there.
So
it clearly explains.
Yeah, those are the qualifying positions. Now, what happens is the rider one who's going to take the start will be standing within the circle, and the bikes will be parked right opposite to that circle. So the rider one who now starts the race is going to come running, sit on the bike, jump on it, start the bike, and take the race start. So it's the rider two who will be holding the bike. There will be no mechanics. There will be none of the pit crews there after a certain time. Now it's a 5-minute duration when everything is set. So the bikes are parked right opposite to the circle, right at that line that you could see, the track limit line. And all those guys who are pushing the bikes are rider two.
So it's just not a bike race we are saying. We're going to see a sprint also happening right in front of our eyes. And I must say, this is not a regular format I've been watching, but this is going to be really exciting for everyone.
Right, you know, this very exciting for us. So these riders with that, you know, at least 6 kilograms of 6 to 6.5 kilograms of leather suit, with the helmets, the boots, you know, with entire thing, they're going to sprint for those 6 meters or maybe 10 meters to go and hop onto that bike. And you know, people have to be patient here in running and getting onto the bike. They should not be dropping the bike and losing the position. We've seen this happen in the past. Okay, so
and it's not easy going to be carrying so much of weight in running across the track. And I must admit, it's really hot out there, and it's quite hot generally, but on a racing circuit, it's going to be extremely hot. So wishing all the riders the very best. And we can already see the riders lined up into their circles, facing their bikes, and the second riders also going to be helping them out, standing beside the bike there. So, Anil, you got anything more to explain over this?
Yeah, so it's only the rider two who's supposed to hold the bike. There are no mechanics. If you could see, there are no mechanics, no pit crews. Okay. Also, there is no limit on how much fuel the bike should carry, because they will have fuel pit stop also. So some riders, you know, based on their handling thing, they might go full tank, some might go just half a tank. But the thing is, the first rider, whoever is riding, they have to ride for minimum of 20 minutes. They cannot come into the pits before 20 minutes, and they have maximum time of 45 minutes. So they cannot ride beyond 45 minutes and cannot ride less than 20 minutes. If they do so, there are required penalties that will be applied to.
And I've also noticed there's a lot of there are a lot of officials and marshals keeping a close eye, just not from corner to corner, but also the pit lane, since they're going to be pit stops. And I heard they're going to be some quite an interesting format about the pit stops. So Anil, can you tell me about that?
Yeah, Chetan. So what happens in this format of races, there's as much action happening in the pit lane as much that is happening on the racetrack as well. Because endurance race is not about going fast. It's a lot of teamwork where you do a lot of strategies in terms of when are you going to do your fuel stop, when are you going to do your rider stop. Okay, and also to decide how many pit stops are you going to take in the 2 hours. Are you going to do a 2-stop strategy or a 3-stop strategy? So there are people who have been, I was walking through the pit lane, I saw some of the teams strategizing that they're going to do a 3-stop strategy, and some people working on a 2-stop strategy. But whereas there is no set limit on number of you know, stops. So let's quickly get back. The last siren has come, so it's a 1-minute board out there. You could see the secretary of the meet there inspecting the grid. It's a wonderful sight, right? Can you see those 45 bikes parked and 45 riders right opposite there?
They're lined up so in such a discipline. I'm quite surprised to see this.
Yeah, and we also have one rider missing there out in the middle. Maybe they have either not finished the warm-up lap, or they must have come late and they would have gone into the pit lane. There might be a pit lane stop. start. We'll have to wait and check that. That's a green flag. You see the riders have come in, started the bike, and you saw that fifth bike got an advantage and went into the second place.
And we have
that's Yashas RL or Karthik Matete. It's one of them that I could make out through the bike, who had a very good start and advantage. With the leather suit, looks like it's Yashas RL there. He's still not picking up the bike. Not sure if he can make
back
it. So
on the bike.
let's wait for the rest of the pack. The green flag is out there.
Endurance is all about staying on track and staying till the end and working out the best strategy. So it's quite important to keep your head straight in the first few corners. And I'm sure the rider who just went off at turn 3 should be able to come back after recovering. So hoping to see him back on track.
Right. And okay, no, it's I could see Karthik Matete on the screen. Must be that was Anurag Das who crashed. Both of them similar colors on their bike. So the bike which crashed was the team Anurag Das, and because I see Karthik Matete leading this race while we saw on the camera. And Karthik Matete was doing very brilliant even in the national championship a couple of months back, Chetan, there. He did get placed in the championship there. Oh, there's another crash here.
That should be bike number 44 with HM. Right, I think it's pretty unfortunate he's out of the track.
This endurance has just completed first lap of its race, and we see the pro stock bikes leading there. I could just see a glimpse as the camera panned through. It was Karthik leading, followed by Rajni Krishnan Sharad's team, and on the third place it's competition number 9 in the pro stock. It's ridden by Karthik Matete and Yashas RL. On the bike is Karthik, and overtaking him there is Rajni Krishnan, who's the rider number 1, who's been partnered with another multiple time national champion Sharad Kumar. And on the third place is yet another pro stock bike. The riders are now coming towards the fast right-hander, and is Rajani leading, followed by Karthik Matete. And on the third place, we'll have to wait to see the competition number. I suspect that third bike should be 33, that is Pedu Harsha from Hyderabad. Yeah, it's Pedu Shri Harsha teamed up with Vikas Kumar, and it's Pedu riding there, who's right on the tail of Karthik there, and Rajani has got a good lead by the end of second lap.
It looks like already pulling away from second, but I would say there's a close battle for second out there. So let's see if Pedro Sri can actually get past Yashash.
And Chetan, another thing is Pedu and Karthik, who are right now on the bike riding there, they practice together at a go-kart track in Hyderabad. They both are part of the same riding club in Hyderabad. So it's not the first time they're clashing, it's their weekend doing.
I'm sure they must be able to understand each other's vibe when they're on track, since they've seen a lot of each other, and this is going to make it more interesting to watch. And as we see on the screen, getting out of C4 and into the small D and going big D is Rajat pushing his bike just as much as he can. Let's hope to see if he can build up the gap.
You know, the more gap they build up, it's going to be advantageous in the pit stop strategies. That we can see actually Anurag Das Gupta, that's Satyanarayan's bike which is joined back. Yeah, you remember this? It was Satyanarayan who crashed bike number 24 in the beginning. Satyanarayan Raj and Rahil. That's bike number 24. It's a very good move. He almost started from last.
It's a good comeback. It's a good comeback by him, and I must say it's pretty interesting. He's already got his bike into top 3 there.
Yes, and that's Sahil riding that bike. It's teamed up by Sahil and Satyanarayan Raju. Both of them are national championship rider in the same category.
And I heard both from Secunderabad.
Yeah, again they are the same group of Karthik Mateti, Pedu Harsha, all of them, all these 4 riders together ride in that go-kart track in Hyderabad. So the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th are all bunch of riders who ride every weekend in that go-kart track.
Oh, we had an incident. That could call out the safety car. It doesn't look like it's outside the track. It's on the track limit. So we need to wait and watch. If
Chetan, we are in a bike race, so safety car seldom come. But of course, this is endurance. There are chances of safety car coming in. But I think the officials will first look at making it a full track yellow if it's really deep. But as you told, in that particular scenario, the bike is way out of the track.
It looked like Rajini has dropped his pace.
And it's Pedu leading there. Pedu Harsha leading, followed by Rajini, and on 3rd place is Rahil. Rahil is on Rajini's tail there. Now let's quickly look at the stock category. What's happening on the stock category? I've always bet on this competition number 39 with his Alvin, Xavier and Jagdish. So yeah, we see there right now it's Alvin Sundar who's leading in the stock category. They are in the 9th position, but it's Alvin Sundar who's leading in the stock category 155cc right now. And we see Rahil has overtaken Rajini for the first place. Remember, audience, he was the rider who crashed out there in the turn 2 of the first lap, started last on the grid, and by the end of 4th lap, he's already leading. He's already leading the race. There on 2nd position is Rajini. That's Rahil, Sai Rahil on your screen, would be crossing the start-finish line now. Followed by Rajini. And on 3rd place we could see it's Karthik Mateti. Followed by, that's Pedu Harsha. And on bike number 36 it's Surya PM and Navneet Kumar who are riding there. So it's Surya PM currently riding on the bike.
Looks like the front runners are running clean. Looks like the Pro Stock bikes are running clean, and I would say there's quite a shuffle happening out there from lap 1, but they seem to be going really strong. And we are also seeing quite a few RTR 200 driven by the ladies, and we also have some Pro Stocks bikes coming on the way. But that doesn't change the focus of these Pro Stock riders as well as the other categories, because all of them are running here on a set plan which is made by the team. So all of them following, I would say, a very conservative strategy here and taking it quite easy, because endurance is all about sticking on track and winning the race. So as we already saw in just 5 laps, we could see a lot of order changing in the front. So there's a lot more excitement here to be seen.
Right, and already the lapping of small, slower riders have started, especially the girls category. And one of the key things that we actually discussed, during the briefing, Chetan, today is to let the slow riders know that they need not be worried about the fast riders. So one of the mantras that we follow on the track, or it's unsaid rule on the track, is the rider who is fast and is deciding to pass a rider, it's his or her responsibility to take care of the rider's safety whom they are passing. So it was very clearly mentioned to all the girls and some of the stock riders who were slow, telling that if the fast bikes are coming in, all they have to do is stick to their racing lines, and the faster riders will figure out how to pass them. So we've already crossed 10 minutes into the session.
We have another bike
That's Alvin Sundar.
that just happened right corner. It's pretty unfortunate to see
Yeah,
such
that's-
things happening though, but it looks good as they're coming back on the track.
And that was Alvin Sundar actually, he's teamed up with Rakul, and Alvin Sundar finished I think in the top 4 in the national championship that was held in December in the same category, stock 165cc. Okay. Yeah, it's quite natural that this grid requires with 48 bikes into 2 riders at a time. So we need 100 plus riders there. So it's most of them have already participated in the national championship or one or the other format of the road racing format out here. And watch out for this kid who's riding Surya PM. He's again another favorite in the national championship as well. So he's riding pretty well on his pro stock. He is using a Yamaha R3 here. And that's Alvin Sundar coming in. So viewers, this is one thing. Now the bike has a certain issue, so he's come in to fix his bike. But still it is considered as a pit stop. So if he does a rider change now, then there would be a penalty because he has not ridden his complete the minimum time of 20 minutes. So he is coming to repair his bike, and if the bike is rideable, he will exit the pits. But he has to continue to being on the bike if he has to avoid any penalty. He should not be doing a rider change. We see another bike crash there.
Oh, we see a big bunch of bikes actually racing together out there. They look pretty conservative too to me. And as we see on the track map here, the virtual track map, we see the track is filled with bikes in every corner, literally. And this, you had told me, it's going to happen very soon. You don't have to wait till mid-race. And I'm quite surprised to see that happen.
Yeah, for me this looks more like a fast track day, That's how it looks like for me. And we always knew on this endurance. The fun is after 7 minutes now. We are 13 minutes into the race, and we have to see how many people are going to start making the pit stops after the 20 minutes. Or are they going to continue for 45 minutes as scheduled? So some of the favorites that we have here in the stock categories are, I'll quickly go through some of the key riders that we know for sure who are going to make it to the top 3, and they're going to be a good fight maybe after 90 minutes is the... Okay, I think the safety car will be deployed now. We see a couple of bikes that have crashed, so there would be a safety car deployed. I see my technical team giving a new mic to Chetan here. Because we did have some feedback from some of our viewers that Chetan's voice was bad, so we've changed his mic. Right, getting back to the racetrack, so the safety car would be on the track shortly. Right now, it's a complete yellow flag. The entire track is yellow flag. As you could see on your screen, it is called FTC, the full track yellow. Yeah, something like what you car guys have the virtual safety car these days. So it's something like that. So they are not supposed to overtake. They need to be in a considerably decent pace of bike, so that they're aware that there's a certain incident on the track. Absolutely, they cannot overtake. No motorcycle can overtake, and because of the pace they're carrying, if they by chance overtake, also they are supposed to voluntarily give back the place and stick to their positions. Now, it's more or less the race would get neutralized in some time.
I'm sure all the bikes who have been laid back behind are trying to catch back into the pack so that they have a fair and equal chance to come back to fight again. So I would say safety car could be probably an opportunity for a lot of people to come back into the position, probably closing the gaps.
That's exactly how a car racer speaks, you see. Bikers, we've never used to this safety car syndrome or the, looking at opportunities. But then and this is also a new format for the bikers. Seldom does bikers go so slow on the track and the race is still on. They're not really used to it. But as I mentioned, there are a lot of riders who are going abroad, riding for various teams. And I'm sure we will see some of our Indian riders getting into the endurance format as well. So it's a good stepping stone for them in this format. So, we could see, they're not forming a single line how you form in a car race. But I'm sure they're trying their best to keep up their position and not overtake.
I could see clearly they're just sticking to the line and being cautious. And to come back to the endurance format, I must say this is a great effort put by Madras Motorsports Club for such a wonderful event, which is encouraging a lot of riders to be participating in serious competitions which happen throughout the season, and also this could be a stepping stone before they enter international riding. So we can actually see a lot of riders being in sync out there.
Right. And you can just see some riders are overtaking. They're really not able to make out the
We see a pro
distance.
stock, we see a stock bike, competition number 46, quite frustrated, but let's see what he's got after the race.
Yeah, that's Alvin Xavier there, who was one of the fastest riders in the national championship too. Yeah, maybe, the frustration is because they have made a significant lead, and now suddenly they need to drop down. It does make a, sort of a disappointment. And as I told you, the car drivers are generally used to these things right from their first race. And this is not a regular format with the bike, so it would take some time for them to get used to this format.
Yes, the most common thing we see during a race. The most common thing we see during a race is safety cars, but that's the last thing a driver would actually pray for, because considering with the width of a bike and compared to a width of a car, I would say there's more space, there's more room to overtake even through a corner in a bike than actually in a car, which is quite hard. So during that incidents, if there are any incidents, we come across a safety car. But anyways, let's hope the virtual safety car gets off soon so that the racing resumes. But hopefully everything is safe and they're ready to race again.
Right, Chetan, the other reason why a safety car is put, not just because the track is not clear, they also will try and see if they can retrieve the bike and send it to the paddock so that the team can continue racing. Because it's an endurance race, right? It's not a sprint race like a 6-lap or a 10-lap race. It's an endurance race. So if we do not get the bikes back to the pits, then the bikes keep reducing. So it's better to get them. So they would also be trying to put the vehicle, the motorcycle into the service lane to get them back to the paddock as well and clear the debris.
That's something amazing which I've been witnessing here, that the bikes have been recovered instantly and have special routes to reach the pits to help them get back into racing again. So the story is not over with the fall there.
No, not at all. As I told you, endurance race is still the last moment. Once the 120 minutes is over, the race control takes over, adding up penalties, covering up the number of laps. So it's going to take its time to get the final result. It's not just like a sprint race. And all these laps that are going on through this full course LO are calculated. They are part of the race. As you see, the clock has not stopped ticking and is continuing. And you see there are bikes that are coming in. Now, if you see, we have passed 19 minutes, 40 seconds, but the bikes are still coming in for a rider change or a fuel stop. So they can come now. So the 20-minute duration is when they come into the pits. There is a register kept where they need to go and sign. When they sign, it should be 20 minutes plus. That is the time calculated. It's not the time they enter the pits. So they're going to go to the pit area, park the bike in the respective team area, then rush to the desk, and they have to sign it up there. Only then the time is counted, not before that. So we could see a lot of bikes getting by the 19th minute into the pits. And if it's a rider change, it's a mandatory 1 minute wait and go. And if it's a fuel top up, then they'll have to wait for 4 minutes. The engine should be off, the rider should be off, and the bike should be on a stand, and then the fuel has to be filled. And the fuel cans are provided by Madras Motorsports Club, which are especially imported for this particular race.
I heard they're leak proof too.
Yeah, they're leak proof, and they're specifically made for endurance bike races, which is used abroad. And again, extremely good show by Madras Motorsports, fetching such international equipments for all teams. These are provided to the teams by the organizers. And now from virtual safety car, we see the actual safety car onto the track. Now the pace of the riders are set by the safety car. I think Chetan would be in a better manner to tell how it is.
The safety car usually defines the pace which has to be maintained behind. Racing resumes only after the safety car is in, and you would know the safety car is going to be coming in when the lights go off, the warning lights go off, the blinkers go off on the car at the back straight of the MMRT circuit. And that's when the riders get the indication that the safety car period is going to end. So once the safety car is inside the pits, they can resume racing only when they pass the control line, the start line, we call it, on the main straight.
Yeah, right, Chetan. And I'm sure not many bikers are aware of this format, but it was explained in the briefing very detailedly that they cannot resume racing as soon as they see the safety car entering the pits. It is only when the first bike crosses the start-finish line that the actual race starts. And if someone overtakes before the control line, and then they're going to get the regular penalties that has been mentioned in the supplementary regulatory. Extremely unusual sight for me to see a safety car and bikes going this slow, and a lot of people making use of this time to come and do a quick pit stop.
But it's definitely not me who brought in the safety car. So, as I said earlier, it's not a safety car we usually like to see on the track. But again, to ensure all safety for all the riders out there and to keep the racing continuing throughout the day, we need such kind of discipline from the riders, and I would say the safety car too. The safety car is actually quite slow to my eyes, but I'm sure you know better on why they have to maintain the pace.
The race control, the COC would be controlling the pace of the car through the radio there, because the slower the car goes and the riders can manage themselves balancing on it, it's the lesser laps, and the recovery can get over, so that the total number of laps will be more. They would actually get to see more racing if so probably the safety car would keep the distance or the pace such that the bikes can still ride on the track. So it's a very slow pace right now currently going, because I did see in the back straight there was a rider lying aside. Maybe an ambulance will go pick him up, or a medical car would go and pick him up.
But what we see here is all the bikes, right from the Pro Stock to RTR 200 ladies, we can see all of them have actually bunched up behind the safety car. So this is again a similar sight of what we saw on the main straight during the race start. So
this reminds me of those rolling start the karts have. Yeah, this very similarly, a few years back while I was at a karting track for the championship, I could see the rolling start that karts have, right? This looks something similar to that. The time that when the safety car will get in, we will get to see this happening at the start-finish line. We are 24 minutes into the race. That's we passed the 10% mark of the race, and there are quite a few bikes in the pit lane who come either for a rider change or for fuel stop, and they can come and join when the pit lane goes green. They can come and join this bunch from the back. I can see the pace increased of the safety car, but surely the safety car may not come in this
Looks
lap?
like the
Because I did not
lights-
see the blinkers go off. Did you see?
The lights are still on the safety car, so it still means there's another lap of the safety car, and the bikes simply need to follow the safety car and stick to their positions.
Yeah, right. I only see a certain pace increase in the safety car, but it's still going on. So we might have another lap, or maybe the car would come into this lap, it looks like, because the pace has increased.
We could already see, since last few laps, we have seen bikes getting into the pits, probably to service the bikes, or they're already getting into the pit stops. We see competition number 8 already getting
That's
into
in
the
the
pits.
pro stock. That's Sai Krishna and Balaji teamed up. So this would actually put the strategies of the team to the dustbin because of 4 laps of safety car driven. So they might change the strategy of 2 pit stops.
I'm sure there must be a lot of drama and tension in the pits right now. Team owners and managers trying to change the strategies with the other riders also, because it just looks completely different from how it was in the beginning when it started.
Right, Chetan. So now, based on this, the strategy would have changed. If they have now taken the opportunity here to do a fuel stop, maybe to top up, but it was just 6 laps into the race, so not much fuel requirement would be there. So not a very good opportunity. But if they have done a rider change, that is something that we need to watch and see. But we don't have any sort of information here if there's a rider change that's happened. Maybe I could guess based on the leather colors. If not much idea I would have if the riders have changed.
For the many years you've been seeing them, I'm sure you should be able to spot it a kilometer away.
No, not exactly, because these guys disguise with the leathers, so very difficult to tell. Yeah, but still I can find some of the riders there. I would definitely like to go and talk to some of the riders after the race to see how their reaction was,
During the safety car lap.
going behind the safety car, like especially fast riders like Rajani Krishnan, Jagdish, and all these riders who've been or Alvin Xavier. Most of these Lani Zena is now is actually rider number 2. She's the rider number 2. So she would still be in the pits. My apologies. Lani Zena is rider number 1, so she started the race. It's Arpita teaming up with her who would be in the pits. So while the safety car is still going on, let me just read out some of the competitors' names who are participating here. In the ladies class, we have Purani and Madhu Menon teaming up with the TVS Apache RTR, and then in the second we have Lani Zena Fernandez and Arpita VM, and on third we have Rakshita Dev with Deepika Reddy, and we have Adeline with Soundarya, and Aditi Krishnan with Teresa Jesudas, and Navita Jessica with Lakawali. The safety car is now entered the pit, so the race is gonna begin. They can overtake only after the first bike crosses the start-finish line. Okay. That would be taken. That would be looked into the race officials. That 2 motorcycles, number 79 and 69, overtook 99. At least it looked for me. What did you feel, Chetan?
It looked the same to me. Just before the line had come close to them even.
They had overtaken, but that's something for the race control to take a call. Please don't go by our opinions. We just
This could be of a different category also.
Right. No, but as what we heard in the briefing, it was told that the leading bike has to cross the control line before the overtake. So these 2 bikes we felt. So we'll anyway get to know shortly on our screens if there's any penalty given to them, whether it's a ride-through penalty or a time penalty. Since we are just 30 minutes into the race, it could be a ride-through penalty or something like that. We will wait for the penalties, if any, to come onto our screens.
Now that could be an interesting call. As in general, racing resumes only after the start line. So there is no overtaking permitted before the start line in general, though.
And also those were those rookie riders, Rishabh Shah and Himanish Amla, who were riding on 69. I'm not sure who was the rider there. It was that team. They've been riding on the track for quite some time, but not as much race experience. That's Rishabh. That's Rishabh by his leathers. I can find out on bike number 69 leading is Rishabh. And any idea what the bike number right behind that is? Yeah, they've taken a significant lead actually. We are just going into 30 minutes of this race. That's Anurag Das. Anurag Das from Coach Bihar, who's there, West Bengal. He's teamed up with Macklin Dairy from Goa. On your screen is Alvin Xavier there, competition number 23 on the stock category. And we have some more girls participating in the stock category as well, teamed up with male riders. That's Jagriti is one among them.
The amount of fitness I've been actually seeing from all these riders since morning is phenomenal. They follow a good diet and they're mentally and physically ready, even 1 hour before they get into the bike. And to see the kind of body work bike racing actually requires is immense. The kind of body balance, I would say it's nowhere close to cars. So it's quite exciting to see, as you see the knee scraping through the apex there, and you see the bikes already going through the small D to the big D, and look at the way they go into the corners. So as of now we see the pro stocks, and now we see in the lead we have Rajini Krishnan, who is actually taking the lead in competition number 67, and followed by Karthik in second place in pro stock.
It's Karthik and Yashas RL. At this stage, you know, with so many pit stops already, we are not sure who's riding, but I'm sure on bike number 67 it's still Rajini who's riding. He's not taken a pit stop. So it's very difficult for the audience to look at the screen and find who's going fast and who's second or rank them up. It's more about enjoying the ride on the track. But as per what we see on our timing screen with the number of laps and things, so while I am interrupted, there has been a ride-through penalty given to competition number 27. So it was our mistake, it was not for 69. So it's competition number 27 who has been given a ride-through penalty for exceeding pit lane speed. Sorry. Okay. So they've been given a ride-through penalty for competition number 27 for exceeding the pit lane speed. But still we've not got any information on the safety car. This one that would still be under investigation, or might be misunderstood. So let's wait for that. Currently it's Rajini and Sharath who have clocked the fastest time. And on your screen you could see there's a rider change happening. The first rider has come, signed in, and now the second rider is lining up. Now there's no hurry, because however fast they do, they need to have a mandatory 1 minute stop. They cannot kit up fast and leave it in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. No, they have to wait for 1 minute to exit, and that is being monitored by the officials there. So although he's ready, he's now waiting there. So it's competition number 78. So Anurag Das is now replaced by Macklin Dairy from Goa, and Anurag comes from Coach Bihar in West Bengal. And there's you can see now quite a lot of riders coming in for a change. You could see there some of their team officials helping them with blocking the time, and because you might be a faster rider, but one mistake here and you get a 20 seconds penalty, and that will ruin your race. And
that's
as we see,
cost the other partner also time.
Right, exactly. It's a team event. And as we see our timing screen, it's still Rajini Krishnan, Sharath Kumar team leading, followed by SSRL Karthik Mateti's team on competition number 9. And on third place is 36 Surya PM, teamed up with Navneet Kumar. And none of these riders have come in for a rider change as yet.
and we've been getting a glimpse of how a pit stop works. We just saw a team swapping the riders and getting them back into the track. So this is going to be constantly happening with a lot of teams. You're talking about 48 bikes on the grid, all of them coming in for a pit stop, and you see the process of they need to sign and they need to wait until they're given a green signal to go back inside.
Right. So it's a similar procedure for the fuel stop as well, but most team would utilize the same pit stop for fuel and rider change. So it's 3 minutes for the fuel and 1 minute for the rider. So you can see now competition number 39 has come in the stock category for a rider change, and that's Jagdish who's come in, and now it will be Alvin Xavier who will take in. No hurry. They'll have to wait for 1 full minute. Now Jagdish, you can see he's missing in the screen because he's gone down to the desk there to sign up his register. The clock is in time. Only when he signs on the register his time is registered there. Because now we are closing into the 45 minutes of the race. That's we have 36 minutes into the race. That's Alvin Xavier waiting for his 1 minute time to get over before he can head on to the track. Now the teams and riders have had a 2 hours full practice session this morning. So a lot of these strategies have been rehearsed in the morning. Riders.
I'm sure when I saw each of the riders actually got equal opportunity to be testing this morning before the qualifying event. So that is good track time they got before they got into this. I'm sure they got time to even plan out the race properly.
It's not only that, it also was a practice session for the pit crew. Be it for the fueling, be it for rider change, to calculate their, and also please understand it's there are no radio communication between the teams and the riders there. It's the pit boards and the flags and signals that they do at the pit wall based on which the riders have to come in. In fact, I saw someone using some weird hand movement to sign that how to come in. So each team has its own strategy in communicating with their riders.
I can see we are going old school here. We are not having any radio communications or any kind of lap boards, but they're able to coordinate so well among each other and able to get the show running there.
Right. Anyways, in two-wheelers we don't have any radio communications there. So let's have a quick look among the girls category who's leading right now. As we see, we're able to say it looks like it's Nevita Jessica teaming up with Lee, which is leading in the girls category.
And there's quite an interesting race happening in the stock category out there, just getting through C1 and approaching C2. We got three bikes actually going into corner 2, and there might be a close battle out there of 2 bikes getting into C3. And now we come to the C on the straight towards corner 4, and this is quite close.
And also that's Shishadri coming in. Shishadri is teamed with another batchmate of his, Tanay Gaikwad from Pune. Shishadri and Tanay have graduated from the same school, and they've known each other riding together in various other competitions as well. So on your screen it's Tanay Gaikwad from Pune who's kitting up a colorful suit, I should say.
Quite
there.
Fancy colors.
Yeah, right. Catchy. We can't miss that suit on the track. And it's Shishadri who's ran to the register to go sign up there. So Tanay has to wait for a minute for him to get onto the track.
We just see competition 88 going through the main straight, approaching the first corner.
And that was Anand R in the pro stock. Right, coming back to the leaderboard right now, while we've finished, we're coming to the end of 40th minute. It's still Rajini Krishnan and Sharat Kumar leading there, followed by Yashas Aral and Karthik Mateti's team. And on the third place is Surya PM and Navneet. So on the ladies category, I still see it's Jessica, who's team Jessica, which is leading. I was wondering where is Lani Zena Fernandez team? Do we see that on the screen? Right, while we are figuring out to see some of the ladies category here, it's Navneet Navnita Jessica, who's leading, followed by Sundari on the second place. And then we have Purani and then Aditi Krishnan. So it requires a lot of stamina for these riders to ride for 45 minutes continuously. They're not used to this sort of a riding. A lot of actions happening on the pit lane, as we had mentioned to you, that the racing just doesn't happen on the track. A lot of strategies and things happen at the pit stop as well, similar to your
I see double stacking here. I see double stacking of 46 and competition number 18 on the pits side by side and trying to do the driver swap. And we have competition number 95 also just dived into the pits for his driver swap too.
And while these driver swaps are happening, can you see the number of officials on the pit lane?
And my apologies, riders.
Oh yeah, Chetan, I did tell him before starting the commentary that he will start talking about drivers than riders. Okay. And
Does
that's
it look like Sharad Kumar there?
no, that's Rajni.
No, that's Sharad.
That's Sharath waiting for Rajni to come in. So maybe they've signaled their his teammate Rajni to come in. So waiting for him. Yeah, they need to come in now. We are 41 minutes into the race, so it's the right time that most riders who have not done a rider change have to do rider change now, because it's not after 45 minutes. So when they come and sign in the register, it should be less than 45 minutes. So it's time now between 42 and 43rd minute that they have to decide to come into the pits and go and sign in the register. That's why we could see those anxiety levels rising up with Sharath, that we've already into the 42nd minute of the race.
He looked tense, but I'm sure he had a plan in his mind.
Yeah, but still then, as I told you, its communication is key here. He is wondering if Rajani is actually seen at the pit wall for the communication. And one small mistake here and you get a 20 seconds penalty and all the hard work that you've done will go drain. So we'll have to wait and see if Rajani is going to now come into the pits in this. That's competition number 99. Ram from Coimbatore, a rookie. Rajani just passed by. Did you see that?
Yes.
Rajani just passed by straight, so he's not entered the pits. Maybe he would enter in the next. It's going to be a touch and go. It's a very close, what's the lap times that they're doing right now, It's going to be touch and go for this leading bunch. I was expecting actually Rajani to come into the pits now, because at 1 minute 56 seconds that he is doing his lap times, and we are now at 43 minutes. It's going to be a tough call for him. Right, now this is getting exciting with strategies like this happening with teams. So that's what exactly I was telling Chetan, that communication would be very key, and the 3-member team, one at the pit and the 2 drivers are very keen.
I think the pit manager is going to be having a tougher task to be operating today, because the riders got to just keep their head straight and be focused on the circuit, while the pit manager is going to be having quite a task to get the show running there.
And also what happens is, in a sprint race, the riders do not look at the pit wall as often, and they would look at only if there's a certain strategy or a communication that would come from a team, and not all teams communicate during a sprint race, and whereas here every team has to communicate. So we are now coming to the end of 43rd minute. We have entered the 44th minute. Rajani is now at the bridge corner. We'll have to see if he enters now. It's going to be a very close call. He has 58 seconds before he can go and enter his signature at the... And I see Rajani isn't coming into the pits. No. Rajani continues to ride. So this would not be a good moment for them. So he is not going to make it into the track again. And we'll have to wait and see how this will pile up.
Yes.
So
this could be an interesting call actually. But I also did notice while Rajani was going up bridge, there were quite a few RTRs and stock bikes who actually gave him way, and that's the kind of discipline we actually want to see here. Race till the end and let the faster ones pass when the race is elsewhere.
No, I completely agree with you on that, Chetan. That was what was communicated to the riders. There's no point competing with the faster bikes there. But my concern here is very different. See, we now come to 45 minutes of the race. Officially, we've crossed 45. Yeah, now we've crossed 45 minutes, and Rajni is not coming. So there would be a penalty issued for that. So,
And for those of you who are just tuning in now, welcome to the TVS Eurogrip MMSE Motorcycle Endurance Race 2021, organized by Madras Motorsports Club.
and we are here at the 46th minute of this 200-minute endurance race. I would actually like the cameraman to show what's the reaction out at Rajini's garage with rider number 2 waiting there. And on your screen is competition number 70 and competition number 45 waiting for their 1 minute to get over before they can go. As I told you, it's a mandatory stop of 1 minute there. As we see the timings that they're doing, they're still at the consistent lap times that the pro stock bikes are doing. On the stock, I see it's Jagdish who's leading there. Rajini now comes in, but is it too late?
Let's wait and watch.
It's 46 minutes and 18 seconds when he entered the pit lane. So we'll have to wait and see how it will go through. So I think the safety car issue, what happened was clear through. I think we just overreacted, I feel, because we haven't heard anything about it. So that's Sharath getting on to the bike now. But again, the time is calculated when they go and sign up at the register. Now it's Sharath waiting for his 1 minute to get over. Those 1 minute will look like eternal.
But to me, it looked like a comfortable swap. So waiting to see them get themselves back on the track, and Sharath Kumar is going to be quite a interesting candidate to watch also.
Right, but you know, Sharath is just eager to get onto the first gear and move, but he has to wait for that mandatory 1 minute. And you could see someone helping out with the stop clock right next to him to let us know about that 1 minute.
You just got not one clock, but you got quite a few clocks running out there on the bike.
Yeah, you know, he can't just wait to get onto the track.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on the first gear. So eagerly to let go of the clutch and
Yeah,
take
right.
off. And yes, he
Right.
does. Back on track, going towards the pit lane exit.
So you saw on the left side there was another official with the white shirt who was actually timing him as well. So for every stop there are officials who will be timing. So we have quite a lot of officials on the pit lane as well. So as we see, it's still Sharath and Rajni who are leading the leaderboard, but then we will not get to see if any penalty is added right now. Only when it's added do we get to see that. And on the second place, it's Pedu Harsha. On the girls category, we see Lani Fernando now ahead. Where is Karthik Mateti right now? Yeah, they are on second. Yashas Aral and Karthik Mateti are on second place, and Surya PM and Navneet on third place, and Pedu Harsha on fourth place, Satyanarayan and Rahil on fifth place. On the girls category, we still see Nivita Jessica leading. So by now all the teams should have done their rider change at least once. We are already in the 48th minute of the race. We will have to, as per regulations, all the teams should have done their rider change at least once now. That was one fast bike. Just it looked like me that he maneuvered one of those Kormangla signals and just went through. It's such a traffic bound, and you know, it just looked like that he swept through that signal.
But I see a girl rider right behind him who was trying to lead that pack there, and this bike went just zoomed past. So must be having a lot of pace out there.
Yeah, but while we were talking, I also saw an yellow flag at turn 6. There was a yellow flag at turn 6. Not sure what it was for. But rest of the track looks okay for me. We are into the 50th minute of the race, so itching towards the 50% mark. And as we do that, we still see the race leaders are Rajni Krishnan and Sharat Kumar, followed by Yashas Saral and Karthik Mateti, and on third place is Espedu Harsha. Mind you, all these results that we mentioned are provisional and does not imply any of the penalties that would be issued later or any such time calculations that would be done. This as is current timing situation that we see on a timing board.
And we also see a best lap recorded by Rajni Krishnan and Sharat Kumar with a 1 minute 53.785 with an average speed maintained of 117.6 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, this was set by Rajni before he did the swap. It was Rajni who was riding the bike at that time. On your screen, you could see some of the teams doing some strategies as well there. And on the stock category, it's Alvin Xavier and Jagdish who are leading. Currently it's Jagdish and Alvin Xavier's team which is leading the stock category. We are in the 51 minutes of this endurance race. It's the TVS Eurogrip MMSE Motorcycle Endurance Race 2021. As we look at a 30-second stop and go penalty for competition number 28 for rider change above maximum riding time. Is that
26.
26? There's a stop and go, and we see, as I was talking about, Rajni Krishnan's team is also being given a stop and go penalty of
Maximum riding time.
Yeah, I told you, right? They did exceed that. So they've got a 10-second penalty, and competition number 26 have got a 30 seconds penalty. Now, how is the 10 seconds and the 30 seconds is decided based on how late they've come into the pitch.
The excess time they've spent rather on the track.
Right. And competition number 26 is from stock category, that is rookie rider Suraya and Roshan. Those are the rookie riders, but it's more of a learning experience for them at this point of time.
And we also got information that competition number 27 has just exceeded pit lane speed. So this could probably be an older one if I'm not mistaken.
The old penalty.
It was old penalty, but the recent ones which have just come in are the maximum riding time. So as Anil had earlier explained, the rider swap should have been happening within the 45-minute range. So since they've exceeded it, they might have to face this penalty. And now coming back to the circuit there, we see the racing is still going on and all the riders look very conservative and the riding styles have been very composed from what I see. While the pro stocks have been having their own race in the front, we have the stock as well as the RTR 200 ladies category running smooth and clean there. And right now on a screen we see competition number 44 passing the main straight here.
Sorry Chetan, I had to take a quick break there.
Never mind. Anil, can you just speak a little bit about the stock category? We've spoken a lot about the pro stock. So about our riders in the stock category.
Oh yeah. So the current leader that I see on the stock category is the team Jagdish and Alvin Xavier, who are currently leading there. And both of them did, Alvin Xavier did some amazing timing during the national championship, although Jagdish was not eligible for the stock category in the national championship. He rode the pro stock, and both of them are a pretty strong contender, and they started their championship ride from 2020. So they are pretty new to the track riding. It's just been a year, and still now they are leading the pack of this stock category. And the other rider in this category is also Sheshadri and Tanay Gaikwad, who have been riding in the other championships. In fact, Tanay has won some of those championships as well, and now he's back. And this is Tanay's re-entry into MMRT after a very massive crash that he had on the home straight during his previous race here in the national championship in the 2019. You know, while at the race start he collided with a rider, and there were 6 riders who collided at the home straight, and he did suffer some serious injuries and took a break for 2019 and did not race in 2020 as well. And after that 1 year break, you know, with the pandemic and not actually having a track time, he's now come back on the track, and good to see him in the top 4 with his old teammate Shishadri S there.
And it's quite inspiring to see that, you know, the riders have such strong determination that they understand it's okay to fall, but how fast you get up that really matters, and come back again.
Right. And also on competition number 93, you will find Mohan, Babu and Uday, Prakash. Mohan Babu is the 2020 national champion in the stock category. He was a champion in the 2020 stock category right at this track in the December that was conducted.
So I must say he's quite used to his bike then.
Right, absolutely. So, but he still will have to see on the leaderboard if he's on the top 4, because as I told you, it's not only his riding skill that matters, his teammate and the strategies of pit stop that they do as well. The other notable bunch team in the stock category is a combination of female and male rider, that is Rihanna B and Veer Ashwin Lal, who are teamed up, and that's competition number 42, the bike number 42, where Rihanna B and Veer Ashwin are doing. And Rihanna B has been multiple time national champion on the road racing in the girls category. And the other category which I anticipated a lot, I expected a lot from this team was Kevin Kannan and Ullas. Ullas missed on his national championship just by whisker because of a crash in the last race of the championship in the last lap. You know, it was very bad luck for him. But I had expected him to be much higher in the standing right now as we come to the end of 60 minutes, coming close to the 50% mark of the endurance race. And the other notable competitors team in the stock category is Teja TVR, who also won one of the one-make championship in 2020. And we have Jayant as well, both from Hyderabad. Again, this is the bunch that I was talking about, Hyderabad, who trained themselves in the go-kart tracks. Karthik Mateti, Jayant, Teja Ravi, Harsha Peddu, all of these are part of this.
It's quite exciting to see people from Hyderabad, the one of my favorite place, and I also hail from there.
Oh, okay. So they actually use a go-kart track in the outskirts of the city to practice there. And on your screen, the center bike, the yellow bike that you see is one of those bikes which get practiced there.
That's competition number 57 there.
Yeah, that would Harsha Peddu and his teammate. Now it's going to be very difficult for us to tell who's on the bike riding, because it's already 60 minutes passed through. We don't have any information on the rider changes that's happening. And some of the rookies that we see in this category who've never been in any competition, they've directly started riding in the endurance races. Competition number 99, which is Mihir from Bombay, teamed up with Sriram from Coimbatore. And then we have another one is I just met this rider during lunch break, a rider from Kerala who's actually come into the competition for the first time.
It's quite interesting to see young new talents actually getting onto the track, and this probably could be the first event, but I'm sure they already got the taste of this and they want to come back for it again.
Right, and the rider I was talking in the stock category 165cc, the Kerala boy, is competition number 45, Aldrin Babu and Mohammad Nizami. They are riding for the first time in a competition. So, generally people start off with the sprint race and then come to endurance, but it's the other way around. But I'm sure a lot of these rookies who have now come will be seeing them in a couple of months in the national championship as well.
And it's quite important to actually check the fitness of a rider in terms on a long run race like an endurance or a short sprint. So this is probably a chance for a team management or anybody to understand the riders much better, the kind of endurance they actually have within them. So it's great to see new riders coming and testing out their skills and their endurance levels on this circuit of MMRT.
Okay, we've also had an information that, what we were looking at the girls section, that Aditi was locked there at the bottom and we didn't see any much movement. Is actually, I forgot to see that Aditi has done only 4 laps there. So actually that was one of the incident that's happened. Maybe that is because of the why the safety car was there, I think. And I just got an information that, she had a collision with another rider, and hope she's fine. We'll get more
Hopefully she
information
should
on
be
that.
fine. They all are athletes, they're sportsmen. They're going to be back on their feet, ready to fight again. So it's not over until they stop trying.
Right.
We're seeing some close racing in the last corner here with competition number 17 and 39 as they enter the main straight. They was right just beside each other, entering into the corner. This is not something we actually see in car racing that often, but this is quite exciting.
We bikers have a joke going around. The number of overtakes the car race will have for the entire year would be done in just one race, in a bike race.
I'm sure there's no argument for that.
But then each one has its own skill set and each one has its own talents required. So
As I said, the width of the bike is lesser.
it's completely it's just taken in a lighter moment there. So unfortunate to see a few riders who have dropped out because of incidents there. But still, nevertheless, we have 90% of the grid still riding, and we have done 50%. We've crossed 50% mark of the endurance race. We have another 59 minutes to go. And we need to see if the stop and go penalties have been served by the riders. They will have 3 laps duration before they should come and serve their penalties. If not, the penalties would increase. So we did not see, at least on our screen, Sharat Kumar coming in and serving that penalty. Again, this has to be communicated by the teams to the rider. The responsibility rides with the team to go communicate to the rider. We haven't seen any such right-through penalty as yet. So there are 3 penalties that's been issued for competition number 27 for exceeding pit lane speed, and then competition number 16 for exceeding the maximum time for rider change, and same is for the competition number 26.
And we have competition number 5 RPR 200. Could it be Arpita VM?
Yes, and they are the favorites in the girls category. Lanizana Fernandez and Arpita as a team are favorites there. But I also see that Navita Jessica and Lakayali is also good. They are also at the 2nd position right now. But again, for all the riders, for all the viewers here, the results that we are telling, or the standing we are telling, is all provisional, what is seen on the live timing screen. No penalties added as yet. So the final results would be declared by the race control after the end of the 2 hours. They'll be computing all the penalties and then adding it up.
Because what we see on the screens here are provisional as of now. We have a strong team sitting up there in the race control having a close eye, and definitely I'm sure they have something to finally project out there.
Right, and Chetan, we were just during lunch, while we were taking a walk through the track, we just saw some of the officials who had actually skipped lunch and they were busy organizing the entire event. We had a few of the officials talking to marshals and training them how to, and it's not everyday affair for the marshals also that they run endurance race, right? So they were like, how the briefing was going on in the morning for the riders, these officials were talking to marshals, explaining how to manage a drive-through penalty, how to manage the timing for the rider change. As you see on your screen right now, there's another rider change happening here, and these are managed by some of the marshals and the officials. You could see the official right there with the white shirt with the clock, stop clock there, timing the rider change. And that's Amla riding there. He's teamed up with Rishabh Shah in the Pro Stock, and that's Sharath coming in there on the home straight. We're not sure if he has served that stop and go penalty, because we still see it flashing in our timing screen.
Looks like Sharath Kumar is actually on 3rd place at this moment, still maintaining there.
Is he moved down to 3rd place? Yes,
Yes, he's moved
yeah,
down.
they moved down to 3rd place there with Yasha Saral and Karthik Mateti leading, and in second place it's Surya PM and Navneet. Surya PM and Navneet have actually been topping the charts even in the practice in the qualifying sessions there. So it's currently the race is led by Yasha Saral and Karthik Mateti, followed by Surya PM and Navneet, and on the third place it's Rajini Krishnan and Sharat Kumar.
Competition number 5 from the RTR 200 ladies is looking so stable and constant.
That's Arpita. That's Arpita.
You could see the lines so clean that you want to stay on track.
Yeah.
And at the moment we're seeing competition number 1, if I'm not mistaken, should be Baddam Deepika Reddy.
Right. No, competition number 1 is Purani there, teamed up with. Sorry, that's Rakshita Dev. Sorry, I stay corrected. It's Rakshita Dave or Deepika Reddy.
Oh, we just have a pro stock just
Zip through
all those bikes there.
the stock category, and this is the only race we could see all these categories racing together. And by the looks, while we have crossed 1 hour and 6 minutes into the race, a quick look at the number of laps that these bikes have done. Most pro stock bikes have done, the top pro stock bikes have done 30 laps, and the least is at 26 laps, and most stock category bikes have done 26 laps. They've done 26 laps, and ladies categories have done 24 laps. These are all the average that we are talking about.
And I also see the ladies doing some impressive lap times. So this actually convinces me the future of all the women in motorsports. As you see on the screen, we have a good number of women riders out there. This is purely an opportunity for a lot of you watching out there to put your mark into motorsports one day.
Yeah, and there are 2 ladies who are competing in the stock category as well.
With men, mixed with men.
Yeah, that's Rihanna B and Jagati Shri. Jagruti Kiran, sorry. I'm really sorry. I always get confused with these 2 names. Jagruti Kiran from Thane and Rihanna B. Rihanna B is teamed up Veera Ashwin Lal, and Jagruti Kiran has been teamed up with Kalyan Patel from Mumbai. We are into 1 hour 7 minutes into the race here, and the current race leader is
So we have 52 minutes.
and it's Yashas RL and Karthik Mateti's team which is leading, followed by Surya PM, and on third place is Rajni Krishnan. And on the stock category, am I seeing Giants there leading? That's pretty surprising there. On the stock category, sorry, it's still led by Jagdish and Alvin Xavier. They are on overall 8th, but on the pro stock category, it's Jagdish N and Alvin Xavier leading, followed by Giant in the second place, and on third place is Abhishek Narayan and Sangeet S. But we could also see Abhimanyu Gautam making a move. It's a very narrow gap there between Abhishek and Abhimanyu Gautam for the third place. And on the ladies category, it is led by Lanizana Fernandez and Arpita VM there. I was actually hoping this lad on the screen, Tane Gaikwad, I was looking at this pair going up much higher on the leaderboard. They are currently at the 6th place. On your screen, it's Sharat Kumar riding with Rajini Krishnan.
Let's talk a little bit about the Niveda Jessica and Lakia Lee in competition number 6. We just saw the bike on screen some time ago.
Right, and here Niveda Jessica is again a national championship rider, multiple podium finishers, and she's finished in the championship as well a couple of times. And on your screen, it's Arpita who's come for a rider change. Now it would be Lani Zena who will be taking over from Arpita. They'll have a mandatory 1 minute pit stop there. That's competition number 24 there. Satyanarayan Raju teamed up with Rahil. Again, there is another bunch, Satyanarayan and Rahil, that I was looking, they would be in the top 3. And they're quite down compared to their pace that we were expecting, what we saw in the practice session and the qualifying session.
We got a rider there in between, letting go of the faster bikes to corner 4.
Right, this is a very important lesson that the rookies have to learn, that they cannot be blocking faster riders, and that way it's actually been very good for the riders to ride in such competitions, whether it's the endurance race or the national championship that's conducted by MMSE here, because they do get trained on a lot of these things in the actual scenarios and not in the simulated scenarios that happen. Chetan, while we are here talking about these endurance races, there are quite a lot of homegrown riders and drivers who are in the international arena right today while we are speaking, getting prepared for their races. We have Jihad in the Formula 2 who got in 2 podiums yesterday.
Jihan Daruwala, who's a very promising Indian driver, so Formula 1 probable. So we are all eyes on him at the moment. So
yeah, today we have a future
race.
race.
Making the country proud someday.
Yeah, we have the final future race today. Hope to see Indian national anthem there. And we have another Indian rider who was riding, homegrown from MMRT, is Mikhail. Mikhail is racing in the Asia Talent Cup. He had the race 1 yesterday and his second race today. And that's happening as part of the MotoGP at Doha in Qatar this weekend. So there's quite a lot of action-packed weekend, starting with the endurance race, followed by MotoGP and Formula 1 and Formula 2.
It's going to be an action-packed weekend. We're already seeing
right.
it.
And what a Sunday to have out here, right? And coming back to the endurance race, we finished 1 hour and 12 minutes. It's another 48 minutes remaining. That's the stock category bike number 42 that's coming to the pits here.
Looks like
for a quick rider change. That's Rihanna
rider?
B.
Yes.
Yep. That's Rihanna B now getting onto the bike. Rihanna B would be riding the bike now.
She's all suited up and ready for it.
Yeah. And as you see, the only rider is getting changed. The fuel stop is not there. The fuel stop isn't designated. I think it's pit number 19 where the fuel stop is. So they cannot fuel at the pit garage.
That's part B of the pit stop.
Yeah, right. But there is a strategy that you can combine both your pit stop and rider change together. It's just that you need to spend additional time. That's 1 minute plus 3 minutes for the fuel stop.
So you do it in 5 seconds or 30 seconds. You cannot leave until the designated time is over.
No, not at all. And there's another penalty that is being given, and that's a 30-second stop and go penalty for competition number 26. Is it 26?
Yes, competition number 26 for
this is the second time that this competition number 26 has got this penalty. And as I mentioned, these are the rookie riders riding for the first time. Looks like Pratik Roshan and Surya RK. They did get this penalty, and I'm not sure if they've served this penalty because it still continues to be there on the screen. And Sharat Kumar has now come in for a rider change, and it's Rajani getting onto the bike. So they're waiting for that 1 minute mandatory stop, and we're still not sure if they did serve the previous stop and go penalty.
We got the race secretary, Mr. Amit Arora, also being busy there at the pits. He was just standing beside that bike there. And we got competition number 5 and number 2 for exceeding speed, pit lane speed. So they're going to be having a right-through penalty for this.
So the competition number 5 and competition number 2 are from the girls category. That's competition number 5 is Lani Zena Fernandez and Arpita's team. So a right through penalty for them, and the other one was competition number 2.
Yes, number 2.
That is Purani and Madhu Menon, both from the ladies category. It's very important to look at all these small nitty-gritties. One is not cutting the pit lane line, which we saw, which we always talk about as a virtual wall. to the riders, and then the pit lane speed.
We were always thought the two white lines on the either side of the track are the walls. So stick within those two lines. Or just
It's actually, we've been told those you need to virtually think them as a virtual wall there.
we see a bike actually slowing down in one of the corners. Could this be race over for one of those spikes there? Let's wait and watch. But as we see the rest of the bikes, they're all looking strong and still going on there. So until we come back with further more information on which of the riders had actually stalled outside the circuit.
So as we get on to 1 hour and 15 minutes, we have another 45 minutes of the race remaining. We just have the 45 minutes of the race remaining, and it's Surya PM and Navneet Kumar who are leading the race, followed by Yashas RL, Karthik Mateti, and on the third place is Rajni Krishna and Sharath Kumar. Currently they are in the pit. They are having the fuel stop and the rider change. Chetan, if you have observed, the riders leading this race have not set the fastest time. It's not about speed and not only about setting up the fast laps. It's about strategizing and ensuring their race with all regulations followed for 2 full hours so that they do not get any penalty points.
It's also important to not really get tired, trying to push yourself too much because it's a long race. So you need to be really focused and having the strength till the final lap.
And also you cannot strain your bike as well. You cannot really strain your bike as well because it's, as we always tell, it's not a sprint race. A moment of silence even in the commentary box for us as we look on at some of the riders here.
We could see ourselves so stuck to the screen here. We are trying to understand what kind of overtaking is actually happening out there of different categories together there. So it's quite a tough task for you, I'm sure, Anil, to actually identify the riders among so many bikes out there.
Yeah, it's pretty easy at times when it's a race weekend because it's a 4-day weekend. You spend time with the riders, you get to know what color leathers they're wearing, what helmets they're wearing. It makes it easier, and it's only one rider riding one motorcycle, but this weekend it's 2 riders riding the same motorcycle. And because it's the starting of the year, riders have upgraded to new leathers and new helmets. I've really not had time to have a chat with them or see them enough practice. Although I did try and catch up with quite a few riders there. And that's Surya PM and Navneet Kumar. And correctly, it is Surya PM who is riding the motorcycle. And Yashas and Karthik, they're on competition number 9, are also pushing their bike there. And looks like it's Yashas who's riding based on the leathers. I could see it was more of, it looked like Yashas RL riding the motorcycle now.
And I can notice that clearly a lot of riders had different riding styles. The way they lean, the way they take the corners. So does it really vary from rider to rider, or do they have a standard racing line and a technique to stick on?
No, there are a standard racing lines and a technique to stick on, but then it's one's comfort. If a rider has an unorthodox way of riding and if he's still fast, end of the day that matters. Okay, it's one's comfort, especially when you go to the pro stocks. It's a modified class and it's modified keeping the rider in mind. Be it the suspension setting or the handling, and even the tire pressure matters there. And with the tire pressures,
I'm sure must be rising.
Yeah,
lap by lap.
Absolutely.
On an endurance race, on a truck, on a really hot tarmac like this.
Yeah, and absolutely. And talking about you could see the rider there, competition number 33, having a quick look on his tires.
He's having a quick peek at the tires to ensure that he's still good to go.
Right, and all the motorcycles are running the TVS eurogrip tires, and thanks to our sponsor TVS eurogrip here for being the title sponsor of this event. And all motorcycles, the stock category, the pro stock category, and the TVS Apache are running on TVS eurogrip tires.
We just received information that there's a ride-through penalty for competition number 98 for exceeding pit lane speed. It's important for the riders to be maintaining the designated speed in the pit lane as they can't exceed 60 kilometers per hour the moment they enter the pit lane.
Right, Chetan, and there's again another rookie mistake by some rookies here, and the rider must be either Ronald Diesel or Arson. So it's one of them who was riding that motorcycle, and a lot of this pit lane speed exceeding is done by rookie riders there, if you've observed.
So we're getting a glimpse of the pro stock bikes also having a close race here. You see competition number
That's the
45 and
stock
73.
category. That's a stock category. And that's Amla there on the bike number 69 from Bangalore. He's teamed up with Rishabh Shah in the pro stock category. Yeah, in this endurance race, its reliability of the motorcycle also is very, very important. And it's been a good show. We've not seen much of a bike stall here, apart from one or two bikes and a couple of rider errors that has happened. If not, it's very nice to see so many pro stock bikes running continuously for 2 hours. We've crossed 1 hour 20 minutes. We've crossed 80 minutes of the session.
We don't see any kind of complaints coming from any riders or teams as they're running really stable on this wonderful event, which is a TVS Eurogrip MMSE Motorcycle Endurance Race 2021. All of them looking strong and solid with those tires, and they look comfortable, and you could see the categories really being spread out and maintaining the pace.
Right, and we've not seen any incidents because of the slow bikes and the fast bikes put together on the same grid.
To me, all of them look pretty fast, pretty quick. And in the background, we could see around the D, there was a yellow flag, and it is still waving out there. I hope it's nothing serious, but the racing I'm sure can resume.
In such a long format of race, you will end up seeing quite a lot of such incidents
A
happening.
waving yellow simply means
that
stay
was-
cautious, but just do your racing safe.
Basically, you can't overtake and you can't set your fastest lap time of that of the race in that yellow flag. And we saw that double yellow flag there. We saw rider Sriram pass by, and we saw Alvin Xavier pass by. There's been a double yellow flag at the back at turn 8. I'm not sure what it is. At turn 7 or turn 8, I saw a double yellow flag there. We haven't seen any update on the screen as well. While we are at the endurance race, I may probably request my media team if they have a replay of the start to show us. If they could show the replay of the start for viewers who have joined us late, it would be very nice for them to see how a race start took place.
Because this is one of the most interesting starts we had on a different format, where we had the riders run across the track onto their bikes, and they took off all together. So that's something we don't see every single day. So hats off to such kind of starts and the riders to keep it so disciplined.
Yeah, mind you, they've not had any practice start.
Yes, and they did not have any practice yet for that.
It was only based on the briefing.
So this is one event where we have a mixed grid of experienced riders with novice riders also, all coming together, just not trying to prove their worth, but there's a lot of learning and experience which has been taking place here. And we see a lot of rookies who have just got into the scene trying to build up their career with this event, and definitely I must admit it's a great start.
Right, as mentioned earlier, a lot of rookie riders have started with this endurance race. And that's competition number 99, Sriram there, and from Coimbatore, and competition number 28.
Right on his
That is
heels.
Ullas and Kevin. And definitely Ullas is a faster rider. You could see them how cleanly he passed Sriram there.
Just took the inner line into C1,
right.
stuck to his line, and
Yeah.
didn't give room.
And that's another team doing their rider change strategy.
That's competition number 93.
That's Mohan Babu.
That's Mohan Babu.
Yeah, I told
The
you.
name I've been hearing since morning.
Yeah. Right. That's Mohan Babu there. And there's been quite a lot of rider changes and fuel stops. It's all been exciting. And we're now coming to almost the final stages. We've done 1 hour and 24 minutes. We have another 35 minutes remaining there. And you could see all those 5 bikes there of the stock category riding in a bunch.
Whoa,
we've had an
we just
incident
had an
there.
incident.
Right. And a rider there has to join the track safely. After looking it in, he cannot gain positions there. So it's very clear there. So in this case, we saw that he did not gain any. That looks like Anurag Das from Coach Bihar, if I can see. Based on his leather, it looks like Anurag Das.
It's quite
It's
unfortunate.
only a guess for me. Yep.
And a 40 seconds.
Sorry for that. It's a 40-second stop and go penalty for competition number 6 for early rider change. Oh, that's competition number 6 is Niveta Jessica. Oh, that's terrible. They were second in the Nivedita Jessica and Lakavya Lee were on second place in the race, and now they've got a 40-second right through penalty. There's a double yellow flag there. Was it because of the same rider who crashed after turn 4?
That could be it. This is the first time we are actually seeing a early rider swap, because till now there were penalties which other riders had to serve for exceeding rider swap timings, but now we had somebody who swapped much earlier.
Oh, right. I did not really observe that part. It's for early. So they have come in before the 20 seconds,
Yes.
20 minutes time. So the better thing is the team should have managed, and if it was just a few seconds or a minute, they could have waited before they actually entered the signature in the register. I think that could have been done if the team realized that they've come early.
That's come early. And as we just noticed earlier, there was a rider who went off turn 4, managed to rejoin the race again after getting back his bike up and running there.
Oh, right. They're at turn 4 just now that we saw. These are some of the stock category bikes there.
We see some action actually getting into the slow corner. We have competition number 59 dived into the corner earlier than the bike behind him and going up the bridge, hoping that he holds on there. And right now we see competition number 95 going to the first corner. This could be from the stock category. We have one of the Pro Stocks bikes which just went past the stock bike to go into corner 4, where earlier we had the yellow flags waving and they're now off and racing can take place in those corners.
We are slowly. Oh,
We have a slow rider, competition number 78. I wonder what could go wrong there.
The competition number 78, as we were talking, was Anurag Das, who crashed out at turn 4. We just mentioned, you told he picked up the bike, that was Anurag Das.
He's just trying to warn the other riders also before he gets into the corner.
No,
he
no.
raises a hand up there.
He raises a hand up because he's a slow moving rider, right? He just wants to ensure that he doesn't bother others. Again, he did another mistake.
Now I think he just went off the racing line as he had faster bikes coming around him there. He looked to me, he wanted to be safe.
I think if he really has a problem, in my opinion, he has to just go park his bike behind a marshal post and retire. But maybe he might want to come into the pits and do a rider change.
Could be a rider change, or he might be wanting to get something fixed on his bike so far. So
Maybe, but then it has to be done very cautiously without interrupting the race of others. And I'm sure we do not have the full picture here as to what happened. It's only based on what the camera that we get to see. I'm sure the race officials have enough video cameras there to check on those.
And for those of you who are wondering why are there so many bikes, let me just reconfirm. There are 48 entries on this event. These 48 bikes had 2 riders for each, for each respective bikes, and all of them have gone racing, with most of them already on track and trying to set a consistent lap times and stay on track. We also do, I can see right now, I see bikes diving into the pits. Are they coming to serve a drive-through penalty
or a stop-go penalty, or a rider swap. Let's wait and watch.
They need to complete all their penalties, within the first 3 laps after the penalty has been issued. If not, the penalty increases. But we've not seen quite a lot of penalties that have, or rather, the camera has not shown us the stop and go penalty that happens. So maybe that's the reason here. We've not got to see.
We have lacked the visuals of the penalties which have been served. So we're just going by the timing screens here. And now we have less than 30 minutes, which is 29 minutes 42 seconds on the clock here, and the racing is still on. So I'm sure the tension is just getting higher and higher as we're getting closer to the line.
Right, now we're coming to the last section of the race. Now the team strategies would be, so if they're doing a 2 pit stop or a 3 pit stop, they will now do a stop to change the rider to the faster rider, and that will be a total sprint to the finish line. That is what it would be. So let's wait and watch. And we haven't seen any update of Anurag Das coming into the pits there. And as we now enter into the last section of the race, a quick look at the leaderboard, and it's Satyanaran and Raju now who's leading. As I told you, they were at the 9th place and now they have moved. And as mentioned, they have still not set the fastest lap time, but they moved from 7th position to 1st position right now, followed by Surya, PM, Navneet. And if you see, the difference with them is also huge, and that could be because of the number of pit stop strategies that they have adapted.
As you mentioned earlier, it's just not about the best lap you actually put out, the fastest lap. It's all about staying consistent, and you probably would be climbing up the order there.
Absolutely. So you see, the Pro Stock bikes have done between 38 to 40 laps already in the last 90 minutes.
And as we see on the screen, those should be the stock bikes, 3 of them.
That's
tailing each other.
Mohan, Babu, Alvin Sundar, and on the 3rd place,
Riding behind them is competition number 12.
12. And that looks like Revat Dhar for me. Revat Dhar from Delhi on competition number 12. The leaderboard says Satyanaran Raju and Rahil leading, followed by Surya PM, and on 3rd place is Rajni Krishna and Sharath, and on 4th place is Abhimanyu Gautam. And in the stock category, we can see it's Jagdish N and Alvin Xavier leading. The race is brought to you live from Madras Motor Racetrack here. What a beautiful evening we've had, and the sun is right down setting. We've had a wonderful afternoon race here. We have left with 27 minutes of this endurance race.
I'm sure the riders should be getting a nice view out of corner 3 going towards corner 4 with a sunset right in front of them. So quite a nice sight for them, but of course they need to be focused on what's happening in front of the eyes on the tarmac.
Right, and that's a fight between Alvin Xavier and Mohan Babu on your screen. And this is Sriram. Is it Sriram or Mihir? It looks like Sriram there from Coimbatore riding there on competition. For 99, I see the marshals running towards turn 2. Or turn 3, sorry, turn 3 there. But our camera is not able to show anything, so it looks like it's fine. Nothing to worry much. That is the entry tonight on your screen. That's Mohan Babu and Alvin Xavier there fighting with other competitors there on the home straight on the stock category. That's competition number 64 at turn 1. And that's Ashish Rungta teamed up with Sarvesh. And there's been another crash, and does it look like Ulas? No, this is not Ulas. Could not really make out who the rider was.
I'm hoping it's not the RTR 200.
No, it didn't look like an RTR 200. It looked like a stock bike for me. But then we really can't say that. We'll have to wait and watch.
It's competition number 77.
Oh, that must be Manvit Reddy actually. Manvit Reddy or T. Chauhan there. Not sure who the rider was riding. There is either T. Chauhan or Manvit Reddy there.
I hope the rider is fine and there's no serious injury there. The rider looks fine, is able to move. The marshals are there to help for sure.
And right, as a 50-second stop and penalty given for competition number 30 for late rider change. Competition number 30 was from the pro stock category. Competition number 30 is Vijay Balan and team of Kishore Kumar. So it's a team of Vijay Balan and Kishore Kumar there. And still a close battle between Mohan Babu and Alvin Xavier there. Yeah, right, that is Mohan Babu and Alvin Xavier there. And that's Sundari there, overtaken by competition number 17.
That is by Deepika Reddy.
Competition number 1, it's Rakshita Dave or Deepika Reddy. By the leathers, it looks like Rakshita. The leathers look like it's Rakshita. That's competition number 64 on your screen, crossing the first corner. Ashish Rungta. And that's a rider change there. This would be the final rider change there. The riders discussing before they get out. And that's on the pro stock. On your screen is Rishabh Shah from Bangalore. That's Sundari there on TVS RTR, and on your screen is competition number 42, Rihanna B. And that's competition number 24 from the pro stock, getting on after right through after driver change, and it's Sai Rahil or Satyanarayan Raju who's got onto it, and this will be the final rider change as we have 22 minutes for the end of this race. That's Arpita there, switching over from Lani Zena Fernandez. That's Arpita trying to do a rider change there. Most of the teams, this would be the last rider change as there's 22 minutes left in this race.
So basically now it comes to the point where the sprint is towards the finish line with just 21 minutes to go.
Right, and we also have to see if there are any penalties to be added or things, so we can't really go by the live timing screen for the final results, but we get an overall picture that most pro stock bikes have done.
And it's still surprising to see that nobody has broken the best lap timing here, which is the 1 minute 53.75.
Set very early by Rajni Krishnan there, and most, as I was talking about, most pro stock bikes have done 43 to 44 laps. Currently I see it's Surya PM and team which has done 44 laps, and Satyanarayan Raju has just now gone out, and we have to see if Surya is going to do a pit stop.
And after so many laps, do you think those tires can produce that kind of lap time again now?
It would be difficult, and even the sun is setting. Is not, we'll also have to look at the tire temperature, so I won't look at any faster laps coming now. We can't really say if they've conserved enough tires, and the last 4 or 5 minutes they're going to do a sprint we could see that in the top bunch happening. Actually, it might happen in the top bunch.
That's where the serious business is, at the final segment of the race. And as we spoke a little bit about the tires, I also witnessed that a lot of team managers who also adjusting the tire pressures before the next rider gets in, to make sure the tires are in good shape throughout the race and the rider feels more comfortable. Am I right?
Yeah, right. The tire pressures are set more on the comfort of the rider there. So, as the same rider is riding both the bikes, so we will have to look at that. That's the only mod that you can do immediately for the rider change. Not much can be done. And they have that 1 minute time to reduce or increase the tire pressure there. And that can be done at the pit garage. They cannot take it into the box. It should be done outside the box there.
For those of you sitting out there watching it on the screen, 1 or 3 minutes might be seeming really long, but let me tell you, for the riders and the team personals on the pit lane, it goes in a wink, and they all are in tension right now, where as we are coming to the final segment of the race.
That's Sheshadri there on bike number 25. He looks like Sheshadri and Tanay are on the top 3 in the group in the stock category. Difficult to say right now. As I see my screen, it looks like Jayant who's leading, followed by Jagdish and not sure on the third place who it would be. It's Jayant and Jagdish fighting for the top position. If you actually see, the Pedu Harsha's team has come down drastically. They are down by almost 10 laps.
I see the timings seems have changed in the order also.
Yeah, right. It's Surya PM who's still leading, followed by Satyanarayan Raju there. You saw the last rider change was done by that particular team between Satyanarayan Raju and
there was a swap
Rahel
in the team.
Yeah, we're not sure who's riding it right now.
So Surya PM and Navneet in first, and Satyanarayan Raju with his teammate in second.
On second, and on third place is Abhimanyu Gautam. They have come out of the blue there. Abhimanyu Gautam has come in.
So looks like competition number 88 doing a good job out there, trying to climb up the order.
Yeah, but then we were wondering what's happened to Rajani Krishnan and Sharath. We did not see them in the top 3 there. Maybe they've served their penalty, and maybe that's the reason they've gone down. On the top 3, we see Surya PM, Satyanarayan Raju and Abhimanyu Gautam. And on the 4th place is Anfal. And on 5th position is Mohan Babu. And on the 6th, it's Rizab Shah who's moved up. And then the stock categories have started. On your screen, it's a close battle between Mohan Babu and Alvin Sundar. They are both riding on the stock category. We also see Yashas Aral and Karthik Mateti who have dropped down there. They've down by 13 laps. Not sure if they will join back. So these were some of the riders who were leading the race in the first part of the race, who have now gone down there.
The back in action after that rider swap, they've got back the chance to actually finally go to the finale of this race, and it seems like they're the ones who plan to push it at the end. Am I right?
Right.
The fastest ones at the start
that's
and the end.
exactly as I told you. It's more about patience. So that's what Surya.
We just had a rider going out of
that's
corner 4.
that's Alvin Xavier. So when that incident happens, the rider can join the track safely in, but he should ensure that he doesn't get any position advantage.
There is no advantage or time advantage.
Yeah, time advantage or a position advantage shouldn't be there. So that's very keen there. That was Alvin Xavier and Mohan Babu who are fighting there. Competition number 93 and 23 there. And these are the stock category bikes riding there. We have come to the final leg. We have another 15 minutes remaining in this race. And what an exciting race it's been, that we've had more than 80% of the grid still riding strong on the track.
Such sportsmanship, nobody just gave up and dived into the pits. They want to go to the final lap. So that shows the kind of determination each one of them are having out there. And as of now, we see competition number 42.
42 in the stock category riding there.
Running away all alone there. So I hope there's competition going to be joining him soon.
That was the team that Rihanna has been riding with Veera Ashwin Lal, and that's a close battle there happening. But we are not very sure if it's a close battle happening there because we don't know what position they are. Maybe the teams would communicate to them when they come for the rider change. But now we won't see any more pit stops. I think it's last 14 minutes left. We don't expect any pit stop to happen, and it will all be down to the wire now. So can you see board that most stock bikes have done the 41 laps, so it's going to be a close competition for the stock category as well there, right? And there's been 100 seconds stop and go penalty for competition number 26 for late rider change.
Are we saying 100 seconds? Yes, 100 seconds stop and go penalty.
So that's competition number 26. As I was talking, there's a third time they're getting this penalty, and that's a rookie team of Surya RK and Roshan. Right, earlier this morning during the rider brief, we were also witnessed the new grandstand that's come up at MMRT track now. No more temporary grandstands, and we've got the new grandstand ready for the next year.
Yes, in fact this has been a long-term project for MMSC from what I heard. After a roaring applaud, in fact a big crowd which turned out in February back into 2020 during the MRF challenge, we had a huge crowd which turned into MMRT circuit, and that's when I'm sure they decided to build the concrete grandstands to accommodate a lot of fans to watch the race.
Waiting for the pandemic to get over for the fans to come and watch here.
And also I must mention that right from the time I entered the circuit this morning, there's so much of precautions taken, the safety precaution, the temperature check, as well as to ensure all the guests who also get entering are in good health, to ensure safety to all others there.
And for the information of all the viewers, me and Chetan are sitting with safe distance with two different microphones. We're not sharing microphones as well. Right. So yeah, coming back to the race, we are into the last 13 minutes of the race, and now we will start seeing riders going on a sprint, and we will also see if there are chances for someone to set some fast laps out here. Now as we look into our screen, the pro stock is led by Surya PM Navneet by almost a lap and by almost 1 second lead, and on third place is Abhimanyu Gautam there. Trust me, there'll be a very close battle for the top two positions. They are just separated by 1 second, and there is a penalty for competition number 70 for overtaking under a complete yellow flag. Competition number 70 is again another rookie, Anfal and Subramani. Anfal and Subramani, rookie riders.
And I could see Surya PM Navneet team is literally a 1 minute away.
Did you say 1 minute, Chetan? I think it was a second. Can we just have a quick look at the timing screen again? We'll be right there checking the timing. It's a difference is 1 minute there, so that's going to be a a clear advantage for Surya PM and Navneet, because we've just left with 12 minutes, and it's going to be very difficult for anyone to catch up with a lap difference there.
And no more pit stops, so it just means racing at this moment.
Any more pit stop is only going to be disadvantage there. So, but it's been a wonderful racing event, and it's been brilliant for us also, sitting in the commentary box for 2 hours continuously. Most of the national championship, the race used to get in 8 to 10 minutes or 12 minutes, and this has been really a nice opportunity given to us by MMSC there. And what a place to watch the race.
Yeah, let's not mention about the air conditioning here.
All right, we have no clue of the weather other than it being sunny out there.
Just 10 minutes to go. The order hasn't changed, with Surya PM and Navneet leading the race on pro stock, with second Satyanarayan Babu and Abhimanyu Gautam and his partner running third strongly.
They're leading by a lap. So we need to look at the second position there. Is there a close battle for the second position, or is it comfortable lead? But mind you all viewers, this is only a provisional result. All results will be compiled by the race control after the compilation of all penalties. And there's another 50 second stop and go penalty given to competition number 55-0.
95.
Oh, my mistake. It's competition number 95.
For early rider change.
The early rider change and competition number. Competition number 95 is Rabin and Dinesh, another rookie riders here. It's not going to be easy for rookies to calculate this time and pit entries and pit exits. So it is bound to happen, these mistakes, but then it's more about the spirit of racing here and coming in. So, you know, some of the things that I see is some of the hobbyists who have come in, like, you know, Edu Mohan and Sunny, Manu Sunny from Bangalore, who are hobby riders who just dropped in. And I had a lot of other people, hobbyists, who wanted to come in, but it was too late for them to put in the entries as well. By then the entries were filled.
I'm sure 48 is the limit, and they've reached 48. And I'm sure with a lot of rookies or club riders and a lot of people coming to have fun also are going to be doing a lot of homework after they go back home tonight and understand where they could have done it better before the next endurance season.
Right, exactly the way we spoke. It's not about going fast. It's about, you know, strategy and how they plan doing it. Now we are here. We have another last 8 minutes of the race, remaining 8 minutes and 5 seconds counting, and it's Surya PM who is leading as per us on the leaderboard. Rajani Krishnan and Sharath have moved way down the leaderboard at 30th place currently. This is all because of the rider change error that they went through, and serving those penalties has cost them a lot. And is there a rider change at this last moment happening as well? Looks like
the
there's been
rider
one
signing it.
Yeah, looks like a team doing a last minute rider change. Not sure how advantageous it would be. On the let's have a quick look on the ladies section. What's happening there?
The RTR 200 girls.
Who's leading there? And it looks like it's led by now where the girls. We'll have to wait for the next screen to come up. And meanwhile, on the stock category, we see it's Jagdish and leading. And on the girls category, we see it's Lani Zena Fernandez and Arpita leading there. And on the stock categories, Jagdish and Alvin Xavier leading. On your screen is competition number 59, Giant and Ronaldo, who have come in there for a Teja and Giant, who come in for a rider change. Not a very good decision to come for a rider change at this last moment when 7 minutes are left. Maybe it's the mandatory change that they're going to.
Yeah, so in the RTR 200 girls, so first we see on the lead, we see Lani Zena Fernandez and Arpita, followed in second, I think, by Rakshita Dave and Deepika Reddy.
That's on the ladies section, on the first and the second. And one team is out of this. That's Aditi Krishna and Teresa Isuda's team is out as Aditi is retired hurt. We have a last 5.5 minutes of this race going on.
We had Adeline Celes and Sundari, who were actually in P2 earlier. I think they dropped down, giving the space to Deepika Reddy and Rakshita Dave. But that's about the ladies for the second place. But now coming back to the rest of the category with just around 5 minutes left for the race to finish. So, Anil, I think you got the names better with these people.
No, it's still Surya PM who is leading because they have a 1 lap difference there, followed by Satyanarayan Raju and Abhimanyu Gautam. Abhimanyu Gautam has been, a late starter. They were not very much in the competition contender in the beginning. On your screen, it's competition number 64 of the stock category there. That's Ashish Rungta there going on. He is also fighting in the top 4 positions as we see the leaderboard here. There's a 1 lap reduction for competition number 49 for exceeding pit lane speed limit with last 10 minutes. So competition number 49 would be in the stock category. Yes, that's another rookie rider, Dharmesh Kumar and Shivam, who have been given that penalty. Now, there won't be any more right-through penalties because we've come to the last 4 minutes of the race. The penalties would be directly added, to their timelines. So there won't be any more right-through penalties that would be issued as we go through.
So all penalties which can be implemented right now falls into the total time instead.
Yeah, they'll be adding up to the total time, and it will be added directly. So we are into the last 4 minutes of the race. We're waiting for our screens to get updated, and the leaderboard shows Surya PM leading there, followed by Satyanarayan Raju. Although they have reduced their distance by timing by 57 seconds gap, but not really gonna make much help for them because it's the last 3 minutes left. So it's maybe 2 laps they would be getting. So if all goes good and what the leaderboard shows, if they're going to stick to that, it's going to be Surya PM who would be leading the race.
Check. So it looks like competition number 49 got a penalty for not serving in. Check. Check. I think there's a power cut. Yeah.
Okay, audio is going good. Good for that.
We might not have the visuals, but I'm sure we're coming close to 2 minutes to the finale.
Right, and we are blinded as well with this one. So we will now start trying to peep into our windows and see what best we can give you there. We do not have the visuals as well, but we could see action at the start-finish board. At the start-finish rostrum, we can see marshals getting ready with the flags and all of those. We must be having less than 2 minutes now to go. results still stay provisional. So we can't be very sure about telling it's Team Surya PM that is gonna take the victory. So we'll all have to.
But
wait
I think
and
it's
see.
time. I think it's time we start moving into the pits to see the winners, and I'm sure these are provisional. We are waiting for an official result to be put out, and then we'll be having the podium ceremony also today. So Anil, aren't you excited to be walking into the pits right now to see everybody's reaction out there?
Right, absolutely. I can't wait to go and see the pit, the excitement, the exhaustion that the teams have gone through. We would not be having rider interviews at the pit lane now because it's not very easy for us to determine the winners now. The race control has to give it. It's not like a sprint race. So I would only suggest that we wait for the race control to issue the final results, which we'll be getting on the podium. And the riders are now coming in. We would take a quick break. Me and Chetan would take a quick break while we get back to you once the results are up. Request all of you to hang on there for the podium ceremony. See you soon here.
Thank you.
அந்த கேமரா கொண்டு வந்துறாங்கப்பா இது முடியலையா அதான் எடுத்துட்டு வரணும்
ஆடியோ செக் பண்ணலாம் ஆடியோ இது ஆன் இருக்கா ரிசீவர் வரலையே பேட்டரியே ஆஃப் ஆகுது
The race was really very good. I enjoyed it. Little much like up and downs were there. We got penalties also, but yeah, we still managed to win the race. And the bike was very good because of the heat, Chennai heat. We're not able to give the best with the tires. Tires were good, but like with the heat, it was like there was little feeling of sliding and all. But overall, it was good. Thank you. And I would like to thank TVS Racing for giving us this opportunity, and I would like to thank my team, whole team, Gusto Racing. Thank you very much. And my parents for the support, and my family, friends, everything. Thank you so much.
It was really fun. I mean, like I'm riding after 1.5 years, and it's also fun riding with this idiot. I mean, we've been fighting since past 4 years. We are big rivals and also best friends outside the track. It feels really nice to be on the podium, not on the podium, on the first place. I mean, I'm not in the pace. Yesterday also, I was a bit depressed, and I'm also happy with the timing which I got and which Rahil did. He clocked the fastest timing as well. Finally, we are on the first position. I would like to thank Dragster Racing India because the motivation, planning, everything went really well. I would like to thank Jebraj sir again and again. Because of him, we are here, and finally happy. Thanks. I just.
The race was wonderful. I think me and Sandeep were very consistent throughout the race, even though we had a crash in the early stages of the race. So, and at the same time, our team supported us a lot. And end of the day, it is a team sport. So, I would like to thank Dragster Racing India for all the support throughout the weekend, and we had super fun riding with the TVS eurogrip tires. They were very lovely. Yeah, we won the race, so we are happy for that. So.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for all this mercy and grace. Secondly, MMSC for organizing it, TVS Eurogrip for the wonderful tires, and my team technicians, they were great, and the riders were up to the mark. No, today we managed to win the Pro Stock 300 to 400, and also 1 and 2 on the girls category. So it's really a fruitful day. We are mixed emotions. One bike had a mechanical problem. One bike fell short about 2 corners before fueling, and one bike in the stock we had a crash. So it was a mixed day, but then positively mixed. So it's a good learning for us. We have a tremendous team behind us, good riders, and also TVS tires coming into the forum for racing. It's actually encourages us to work more harder, and hopefully TVS will continue supporting motorsport. And if possible, this endurance can be a championship in coming seasons ahead. Thank you.
Very good.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay. How you feel?
Yeah, the tire was very good. I feel so grippy more, and I think the compound was very soft. So before we feel more grip on the track. Also, the temperature was very high in the track. Oh, yeah, that's why we can do fast laps. TVS is best. That's all.
First of all, I want to thank TVS Eurogrip for organizing this event. The tire performed very well. We can do best timings and we can push our limits in these tires. And the tire performed very well around the track, even in such a climate. Thanks to TVS Eurogrip for organizing this event.
It was really good. In these conditions, it was really hard to, to be on the pace. But fitness matters a lot. I was good at the track and I did a consistent lap. And I would like to thank my team for supporting and my sponsors like Motul, Monster Energy, and also not to forget my teammate. We both planned accordingly. The strategy went well and we finished on top 3. Thank you. Tires were really good. It gave us a lot more confidence to push. Even in this hot conditions, it didn't wear out and it didn't give any kind of troubles while pushing. Positive tires.
അപ്പോൾ അടിപൊളി വീക്കെൻഡ് ആയിരുന്നു. ആദ്യം തന്നെ ടീമിന് താങ്ക്സ്, പിന്നെ ടീമിനെ സ്പോൺസർ ചെയ്ത എല്ലാവർക്കും, മോട്ടീവുളിനും 100 kmh മോൺസ്റ്റർ എനർജി, പിന്നെ ഓട്ടോക്യൂനും എല്ലാവരും നന്ദികളും. പിന്നെ ഇത് വിചാരിച്ച പോലെ അത്ര എളുപ്പമായിരുന്നില്ല. എനിക്ക് രാവിലത്തെ പ്രാക്ടീസിൽ തന്നെ ഒരു ക്രാഷ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അത് കാരണം എനിക്ക് ഈവൻ ബ്രേക്ക്ഫാസ്റ്റും ലഞ്ചും ഒന്നും കഴിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. ഇപ്പോൾ റേസിന് മുമ്പ് തന്നെ ഒരു 6-7 വർഷം ഛർദ്ദിച്ചിട്ടൊക്കെയാണ് റേസ് ഓടിക്കാൻ പോയത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിനെല്ലാത്തിനും പിന്നിലും ജഗദീഷിൻ്റെയും ടീമിൻ്റെയും ഇഷ്ടംപോലെ എഫേർട്ട് ഉണ്ട്, ഞാൻ ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് നേടിയതല്ല. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാത്തിനും അവർക്ക് നന്ദി. പിന്നെ ടയറൊന്നും പറയാനില്ല, ഒരു രക്ഷ ഉണ്ടായില്ല. നല്ല സൂപ്പർ ടയർ, TVS eurogrip കൊള്ളാം. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
கேள்வி கேளுங்க அப்போ. Race was very good, but we couldn't bear the climate. It was very hot. Riders was getting very tired. So overall, it was a good experience, and yeah, the riders also had a very good experience with endurance. We wanted to continue year by year, increasing the
Yeah, we are very satisfied with the team performance. Overall, it was a good race. Overall, it was a very good race. We are very satisfied with our riders' performance here. It was like both seeing the bike and the riders' efficiency here at the endurance. So overall, it was like a practice for us before the national championship. So we are very happy. Like we have finished third in group stock 165cc. So we are just waiting for the final results to come out, and we are very satisfied with the tires. The tires are very good. The riders' feedback is also very good, and the times have come down a bit comparatively. So the tires are very good, and we are very happy with the race. Thank you. Yeah, the tires are really good. TVS eurogrip tires are awesome. It is really soft. The riders were very happy with the tires, and the feedback is also positive. We have broken the record, like last year's record, national championship. So yeah, the tires are very good. Thank you.